Aging is not a sudden fall, but a quiet drifting, like autumn leaves that loosen from the branch, not because they're weak, but because the season has gently shifted. For many elderly people, the deepest aches are not in the bones or joints, but in the silence that grows between them and the world. These are not people who have run out of things to say, but often they no longer know how to be heard. Their eyes still shine with memories, their hands still tremble with stories, and their hearts, they still beat with longing for connection, for dignity, for a space to simply be seen. But pride, fatigue, or fear of burdening loved ones often keep their voices quiet. Instead, they wait, hoping someone will notice their need without them having to speak it. These unspoken wishes don't come from a place of bitterness, but from love that still wants to give, and a soul that still wants to belong. The following reflections are not complaints. They are soft truths, whispers from a generation that gave and is still learning how to let go. If you listen closely, you may hear echoes of your own future in their words. The tragedy of old age is not that one is old, but that one is young. Oscar Wilde. Let us listen, not out of pity, but out of respect. Not because we have to, but because one day we will wish for someone to listen to us too. This channel is a home for timeless lessons. Subscribe and walk with us on this journey, full of understanding and reflection. Hi, I still crave purpose. Even if I no longer work or move like I used to, there's a moment, often quiet, often unnoticed, when the world starts to look at you differently, not because of something you've said or done, but simply because you've aged. People start to assume you've finished your contribution, that you've done your part and now you should rest. But no one tells you what to do with the fire still quietly burning inside. No one talks about the ache of wanting to matter, the myth of being done. For many elderly people, retirement is seen from the outside as a reward, a long, slow vacation earned after decades of hard work. But the truth? It can also feel like being benched in the game of life, when you've spent a lifetime being needed by children, by co-workers, by a spouse or a community. Suddenly waking up to quiet mornings and no obligations can feel less like peace and more like emptiness. They don't say it aloud, but many older people wrestle with questions like, what am I still here for? Does anyone still need me? Am I just waiting now? Purpose is not a privilege of the young. It's a human need at every age. Small roles, deep meaning. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't require an office or a paycheck. Sometimes it's the ritual of making morning tea for your spouse. Sometimes it's remembering how your neighbor likes their soup and dropping off a pot on cold days. Sometimes it's simply sitting by the window so the great-grandkids know where to find you when they get home from school. But here's the thing. Society often overlooks these moments. It prizes the visible, the productive, the measurable, and so elders begin to doubt the value of their quiet contributions. They may not tell you, but they're hoping, desperately, that you'll notice, that you'll say, Grandpa, can you show me how you used to fix things? Mom, I need your help figuring this out. What would you do? I miss your stories. Can you tell me one tonight? These small invitations are not small to them. They are lifelines. The body slows, but the soul still reaches with age. The body inevitably slows. Tasks take longer. Movements grow tentative. There are aches and limitations, and a growing sense of caution. But none of that dulls the human longing to belong, to offer, to serve. Imagine being full of wisdom, memory, and insight, yet feeling invisible in rooms that once looked to you for guidance. This is the quiet grief of many elders, that they still have so much to give, but no one thinks to ask. They don't always know how to say, I want to help, I want to matter, I want to feel needed. So instead, they sit silently, smiling gently, hiding the longing that remains unspoken. What you can do, ask for their opinion. It doesn't matter what it's about, politics, parenting, how to cook rice. Let them feel their voice still matters. Give them a task, not out of pity, but out of trust. Let them water the plants, fold the laundry, hold the baby, not because they should stay busy, but because they are still a vital part of the family. Share your struggles, not everything, of course, but enough to let them know you still value their presence in your life as more than just a formality. Include them in planning, whether it's a family trip or a dinner menu. Let them weigh in. Show them their thoughts shape your world. Tell them how they've shaped you. Don't wait for eulogies. Let them hear now that who they are still echoes in your life. A quiet flame. That still burns. They may not say it aloud, but they hope you see it. That even as their hair whitens and their hands tremble, their heart still reaches forward. They want to feel like they belong to the now, not just the past. To every elderly person who has ever sat quietly, wondering if their time of mattering has passed, we see you, we hear you, and yes, you still have purpose. Because love is not earned by speed, value is not measured by volume, and purpose is not something you outgrow. Loneliness visits. More often than I admit, you don't always notice it. It doesn't wear black or walk with a cane. It doesn't always sit in silence. Sometimes it laughs politely, joins family dinners and says, "I'm fine." But loneliness is a frequent guest in the lives of many elderly people. And the hardest part? They rarely speak of it. The company of absence as the years go by, the world slowly shifts around them. Friends pass away, siblings are gone, neighbors move, children grow up and move far. The phone rings less, the house grows quieter. Even the pictures on the wall begin to feel like echoes of another lifetime. It's not that they expect every day to be full of visitors or celebrations. They know life moves on. But they quietly miss the days when someone would call just to chat. When someone would drop by without a reason, just because. Now time stretches. Hours blur, and sometimes the loneliest part of the day is when the door closes after you leave. They won't always say, "Please stay longer." They know you're busy. They don't want to guilt you, but they hope, quietly, that you'll linger a bit, that you'll ask about their day, that you'll sit, even for 5 minutes, without your phone in hand. Loneliness doesn't always look. Sad one of the cruelest things about loneliness is how invisible it can be. A person can be well-dressed, smiling, active, and still feel deeply alone, because loneliness isn't about the number of people around you. It's about the feeling of being seen, heard, and valued. An elderly person can be in a crowded room and still feel like they've disappeared. They may joke and tell stories and ask how you're doing, because that's easier than saying, "It's been 3 days since anyone really looked me in the eyes." I can't remember the last time someone touched my hand just to hold it. They often protect you from their loneliness because they don't want to seem needy, because they know how heavy the world already feels for younger shoulders. Grief in disguised loneliness often walks hand in hand with quiet grief. Not just grief for lost loved ones, but grief for lost routines. For the mornings they used to wake up next to someone, for the familiar smell of coffee brewed by someone else's hands, for the sound of another breathing in the next room. Even the smallest absences become loud. No one to share a comment with during the news. No one to remind them where they left their glasses. No one to laugh at a memory that only makes sense if you were there when it happened. And yet, they carry that grief with grace. You may never hear them say it aloud, but it's there in the long pause before answering, in the gaze that lingers a second too long on an old photograph. What you can do: reach out first. Don't wait for them to call you. Many older people hesitate to reach out because they don't want to feel like a bother. Visit without an agenda. No need for a holiday or a reason. Sometimes, "I was just thinking of you," is reason enough. Let conversations linger. Avoid the rush. Stay for the third story even if it repeats a little. There's more meaning behind it than you think. Ask meaningful questions. Not just, "How are you?" but, "What was your favorite season of life?" or, "Who do you miss the most?" Include them in your daily life. A photo, a voice message, a shared recipe. Tiny gestures carry deep warmth. The unseen hunger. There's a kind of hunger that no food satisfies. A hunger for connection, for presence, for the simple feeling of still belonging somewhere. Loneliness isn't always loud, but it's real, and it visits often. If you've ever seen your elderly loved one sigh quietly when you gather your things to leave, if you've ever heard them say, "I know you're busy, I understand," with too much softness, that's loneliness waiting at the door. It doesn't ask for pity, it asks for presence. So stay a little longer, call a little sooner, and remember, You are a thread in the fabric of their day. Tracy, I may forget names or stories, but I still remember how you made me feel. Sometimes I search for words that used to come easily. Sometimes I pause in the middle of a story, trying to remember a name, a date, a place that once lived on the tip of my tongue. You might smile gently, you might fill in the blank for me, and I appreciate that. But here's something you may not know. Even when the words slip away, the feelings stay. I may forget the details, but I never forget how you made me feel. The mind may fade, but the heart holds on. There's a quiet grief in losing parts of your memory. It's like standing in a familiar house and finding that some doors no longer open. The rooms are still there somewhere, but you can't quite find the keys. You might notice me telling the same story twice, or asking the same question you already answered. You might see me searching for a thought I once held effortlessly, and I do notice it too. I feel the change. I feel the fog. Some days I fight it. Some days I just let it come. But even on those days, especially on those days, I remember feelings, I remember kindness, I remember warmth. I remember the way your voice sounded when you were gentle with me. I may forget what we talked about, but I will remember that you made time to talk with me at all. Please don't measure me by what I forget. It can be hard. Watching someone you love grow forgetful. You may feel a quiet ache every time I mix up names or struggle to recall what day it is. But please don't measure me by what I forget. Please don't reduce me to the gaps in my memory. Because beneath all that, I am still here. I am still me. I may not remember the exact words you said on your birthday 3 years ago, but I remember how proud I was of you. I may not recall the names of your new co-workers, but I remember how hard you worked to get that job. The facts may come and go, but love, it roots itself deep in the soul. Why I smile at familiar voices. Sometimes, when I hear your voice, even if I forget what we were just talking about, it brings me a kind of peace. Familiar voices do that. You don't always have to explain things again. Just be with me. Just speak gently. Just hold space. There's comfort in your tone, your expression, the way you look at me when I'm struggling. You may think I don't notice those things, but I do, even if I can't name it, because memory doesn't live only in the mind. It also lives in the body, in the warmth of a hug, in the rhythm of a walk shared together, in the feeling of your hand brushing mine at the table. What you can do, be patient. I know it takes longer now. I know I sometimes loop back. But your patience makes me feel safe. Avoid correcting too quickly. Let the story be told even if it's missing details. I'm not trying to mislead. I'm just trying to hold on. Ask about how I felt rather than what I remember. Feelings are easier to access than facts. Leave behind notes, photos, or audio recordings. These help me feel grounded. They're anchors. Don't stop sharing your life with me. Even if I forget the details, I treasure the time you give me. I still know when I'm loved. When memory fades, it's easy to feel like you're disappearing, like you're slowly becoming a stranger in your own story. But here's what I need you to know: I still recognize love. I may forget your name for a moment, but not your essence. I may lose track of the timeline, but not the feeling of being cherished by you. So please, don't drift away when I start to forget. Lean in, smile, touch my shoulder, speak my name with warmth. Because even if the mind stumbles, the heart remembers always. I need your patience more than your pity. Please don't look at me with sad eyes. Please don't speak to me like I'm broken. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for space, for dignity, for patience. Because the truth is, I can feel it. I can feel when someone is speaking to me versus speaking down to me. And even if I don't say anything, it lingers. What I need from you is not pity. It's understanding. And the quiet kind of patience that says, you're still you. I've got time for you. A slower pace, not a smaller. Worth, yes, I do move slower now. Yes, sometimes it takes me longer to find the right word or recall the day of the week. Yes, I might ask for help with buttons or bags or bills, but don't confuse slowing down with giving up. Don't mistake these hands for useless just because they shake. Don't assume my silence means I have nothing left to offer. I still have thoughts. I still have humor. I still have sharp moments and deep insight. But sometimes I need a few extra seconds to get it out. What I hope for is that you won't rush ahead, that you'll walk at my pace, not just with your feet, but with your heart. Because when you wait for me, when you pause and listen, I don't just feel respected, I feel human. Pity can wound in gentle words. There's a kind of pity that shows up in the nicest voices. It says things like, "Oh, you poor thing. That must be so hard for you. Let me just do it, you don't need to worry." Those words aren't cruel, but they carry an unintended message. You are fragile. You are burdensome. You are fading. Please understand. I know when I need help. I know I can't do everything I used to, but I still want to try. I still want to participate in my own life. When you take over too quickly, when you assume I can't, you take away more than the task. You take away my chance to prove I still can. Patience is a silent kind of love. Patience isn't flashy. It doesn't come with applause or admiration, but for someone aging, it can be the most powerful expression of love. It shows up in waiting for me to finish a sentence, even if it meanders, letting me tie my own shoelaces, even if it takes 5 tries, asking if I want help before offering it, listening when I speak, even if you've heard it before, sitting with me in silence without checking your phone. These things may seem small to you. To me, they say you still see me. You still believe in me. What you can do, resist the urge to over-assist. Ask first, I might surprise you. Let conversations breathe. Silence isn't failure. It's space for thought. Avoid using baby talk or exaggerated sympathy. Speak to me like an equal, because I am one. Encourage autonomy. Let me make decisions, even if they're small, especially if they're small. Model patience for others. If younger people see you treating me with respect, they'll learn to do the same. Kindness. Without condescension, I know you care. I know your heart is in the right place. But what I long for is kindness that uplifts, not kindness that assumes I am weak. Let me try. Let me speak. Let me be seen. I may take longer. I may stumble. But I am still standing, still learning, still deserving of your patience, not your pity. And when you walk beside me with calm and kindness, I feel not just loved, but respected. 5. Sometimes I pretend to understand, because I'm embarrassed to keep asking. You might not notice it. I nod when you talk. I smile at the right moments. I offer a soft when you pause, like I'm following every word. But sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I didn't catch what you said the first time, or the second, and I'm too embarrassed to ask again, so I pretend to understand, not because I don't care, but because I care so much. I don't want to seem lost or slow or left behind. Hearing isn't always listening. It's not just about hearing loss. It's about the world moving faster than I can keep up with. Voices blur, sentences run together, new terms, new slang, new technologies, all speaking a language that feels just slightly out of reach. Sometimes I hear you clearly, but don't quite grasp what you mean. Other times I miss whole pieces of the conversation, but pretend I didn't. Why? Because I'm tired of saying, "What was that?" Because I don't want to feel like a burden. Because I don't want to be the reason you sigh or repeat yourself in that slightly louder, slightly sharper tone. So I choose silence. I nod. I fake my way through it, hoping I can fill in the blanks later. The fear of looking behind. As people age, there's a subtle fear that creeps in. The fear of becoming irrelevant when you ask, "Don't you remember?" or say, "We talked about this already." It can land heavier than you know. It feels like failing an invisible test, one that I didn't know we were taking. So I protect myself. I pretend. I piece together your meaning from your gestures, your expression, your mood. But inside I often wish I could just say, "Can we slow down? Can you say that again, but simpler? Can you explain what that means?" I want to ask, I really do. But I don't want to feel small in front of you. When pretending becomes isolation, The danger in pretending is that over time, it builds a quiet wall between us. You think I'm following, so you move on. You assume I understood, so you don't explain. And I sit there, smiling, nodding, slowly feeling the distance grow. I may not tell you I feel left out. I may not say, I don't get it. But I do feel the silence when the room laughs and I'm not sure why. I do feel the ache of being present, but not connected. What you can do, speak slowly, but not condescendingly. Clear speech helps. Tone matters just as much as pace. Avoid talking from another room. I hear better when I can see your face, your mouth, your eyes. Check in gently. Ask, does that make sense? Or, want me to say that another way, without making me feel stupid? Be patient if I ask again. Every kind repetition is a gift. It makes me feel safe. Use stories, not just facts. I might forget instructions, but I remember narratives. They help me understand the quiet longing to be included. I don't need you to dumb things down. I don't need you to make me feel young. I just need to feel like I still belong in the room. Even if I miss a few things. Even if I ask you to repeat. Even if I take longer to understand what's changed in this fast, complicated world. Because deep down, I still want to participate. Still want to matter. Still want to feel that I'm not just present, but connected. So if I look a little lost, if I ask for the third time, please don't grow tired of me. Just know that I'm trying. And your patience tells me you still want me here. I still need to feel useful, even if I can't do what I once did. There was a time when my hands were always busy, fixing, cooking, building, organizing, doing things that gave me purpose. I didn't just want to help. I needed to, because usefulness to me was never about ego. It was about love. And even now, though my body has changed, though my energy fades faster, I still long to be needed, to contribute, to feel like I still have something to give. Because I do a life of doing doesn't just end. You might think I've earned a rest, and it's true, rest is good. But rest without purpose becomes something else, emptiness. A slow fading from the things that once made me feel alive. You see, purpose isn't tied to youth. It's not exclusive to the young and strong. It lives in the heart. In the small ways we help, the quiet ways we show up, the subtle things we offer that remind us, I still matter. When you say you don't need to do that, I know you mean well when you say it. You don't want me to strain or hurt myself. You want me to rest, to take it easy. But when you step in too quickly, when you do things for me instead of with me, you send a message even if you don't mean to. Your effort isn't needed here. And when I hear that too often, I begin to retreat, not just from tasks, but from my sense of value. Please don't wrap me in bubble wrap. Let me carry the groceries. Just one bag. Let me stir the soup. Fold the towels. Share my advice. Hold the baby. Let me show love the way I always have. Through action, through giving, through being useful. Purpose can be simple. Being useful doesn't mean I need to run a business or raise a family again. It can be small. Let me water the plants. Let me tell the grandkids stories from the old days. Let me hold your hand when you're overwhelmed. These things may seem minor, but to me they're lifelines. They connect me to you. They make me feel like I still count. What you can do, invite me to help in small ways. Even if it takes longer, even if it's easier to do it yourself. Ask for my opinion on anything, life, love, cooking, choices. You don't have to follow it. Just let me share it. Thank me. A small thank you tells me my presence still matters. Involve me in your world. Let me hold the flashlight, not just sit in the chair. See beyond my limitations. My body has changed, but my spirit still burns bright. Let me give, not just receive. Getting older often means needing more help. That's hard to accept on its own, but it becomes even harder when it feels like life has put you in the passenger seat. For good. Let me reach out. Let me lift someone else's load, even just for a moment. Let me feel the deep satisfaction of knowing I gave something today. I mattered today. I wasn't just there. I was part of it. Because the truth is, even a fading flame can still give warmth. I worry that I'm being forgotten while I'm still here. It's a strange kind of ache, to feel invisible. While still breathing, still sitting in the room, still hoping someone will look up and see you. I don't fear death as much as I fear fading away before it comes, not from memory, not from love, but from attention. Sometimes I feel like the world has moved on, like my stories no longer matter, like my voice has become part of the background, and the hardest part, I don't always know how to ask you to notice me. Presence without attention is loneliness in disguise. I'm still here, still watching, listening, waiting, hoping to be included in your life in more than just obligation. But I see the phones, hear the quick goodbyes, the rushed visits. I feel the quiet pause when I walk into the room, like I've disrupted something more important. I understand. Your life is full, time is short. But so are these days I have left, and I want to spend them not just being seen, but felt. Being remembered isn't just for the dead. We talk about honoring people after they're gone, about remembering them, keeping their legacy alive. But what about while they're still here? What about the moments when I'm sitting by the window, watching the world pass by, wondering if anyone remembers who I once was? What about the days when my phone doesn't ring, when no one asks how I'm really doing, when I feel like a bookmark and a story no one is reading anymore? I don't want tributes after I'm gone. I want connection while I'm still here. Even a short call, a shared memory, a simple question. What was it like for you back then? Can bring me back to life. Why it hurts to be forgotten in the room. It's not always the absence of people, it's the absence of attention. When the room fills with laughter and no one turns toward me. When the family gathers and I sit on the edge, smiling but not spoken to. When decisions are made about me, without me. It feels like I'm fading, not because my body is weak, but because my place in this world is slowly being erased. Please don't just let me be around, let me be part of it. What you can do, look at me when you speak. Eye contact is a small gesture that says, you still matter. Include me in the conversation. Even if I miss a beat, even if I go off track, stay with me. Ask me about the past. You might be surprised by what you learn and how much it means to me to share. Tell me when you think of me. A message, a photo, a memory, anything that says you crossed my mind today. Don't assume I'm too old to care. About your life, your struggles, your joys, I want to be there with you. Remember me now. One day I'll be gone, and you'll remember me, I know. But I hope, before that time comes, you'll remember me while I'm still here. Not as a shadow of who I was, but as someone who is still here, still loving, still hoping, still needing to feel that I belong. Because being forgotten while still alive is a quiet kind of grief. And being remembered, even in the smallest ways, is a powerful kind of healing. Hate, I'm still learning how to say goodbye. People think goodbyes happen in a moment, a final breath, a funeral, a farewell. But the truth is, some goodbyes begin long before the end. They begin in the body, in the slowing hands, the fading memory, the quiet moments when I realize I can't do what I once did. I'm saying goodbye in pieces, to roles I held, to people I loved, to parts of myself that once felt solid, certain, alive. But here's something I want you to understand. I'm still learning how to let go. Grief isn't always loud. It's in the soft mornings when I sit with a cup of tea and remember a friend I'll never see again. It's in the forgotten names, the misplaced words, the long pauses between thoughts. It's in the way I hold a photo just a little longer than I used to. You may not hear me grieving. I may not speak of it. But it's there, woven into my days like a quiet hum beneath everything. Saying goodbye isn't just about preparing for death. It's about learning how to live with loss while still reaching for joy. I'm not afraid of dying, but I am afraid of leaving too soon, not from the earth, but from the lives of those I love. I fear becoming a memory before I've had a chance to say all the things I meant to say. So if I ask you to sit with me, if I want to tell a story I've told before, if I hold your hand just a few seconds longer, please understand. It's my way of holding on. Because goodbyes are not just about leaving, they're also about what we leave behind. What you can do. Let me speak about the past. Even the hard parts. Let me feel it, remember it, make peace with it. Don't rush my emotions. Some days are soft, some are heavy. I'm not broken, I'm just feeling everything deeply. Ask me what I still dream about. I might surprise you. I still have hopes, even if they look different now. Share your life with me. Not out of duty, but out of love. It reminds me that I'm still part of the story. Help me say goodbye slowly, with grace, with dignity, with moments that feel full, not rushed. This isn't just about me, it's about you too. You will face your own goodbyes one day, to people, to seasons, to parts of yourself. And maybe, just maybe, something I leave behind will help you through. It, a phrase, a habit, a way of being gentle with the world. Because that's what we all hope for in the end, not to be remembered for the things we owned, but for the way we made people feel. If I've made you feel loved, if I've helped you feel seen, then that is the goodbye I want to leave behind. Not with sorrow, but with softness. Not with regret, but with gratitude. Not with fear, but with peace. So, until that day comes, talk with me, laugh with me, let me help when I can, let me rest when I must, but most of all, let's live together fully, kindly, honestly, so that when the final goodbye comes, it doesn't have to hurt quite so much, because we said all the little goodbyes along the way, with love, with presence, and with hearts that never truly let go. Final reflection. Listen while we're still here. If you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening. Not just reading these words, but hearing them. Not just observing from a distance, but sitting with us, those who have lived long lives and still carry so much within. You see, aging is not a vanishing, it is a becoming of quiet wisdom, of softened strength, of love. That no longer needs to be loud to be real, but it can be lonely, it can be hard, and most of all, it can feel like the world no longer stops to ask, "How are you?" Really? This is why we spoke, not to burden you, not to demand anything, but to remind you that we are still here, with memories that ache to be shared, with stories wrapped in time, with hands that still long to hold yours, not out of weakness, but from a wellspring of love we never stopped offering. Let this be a beginning, not a farewell. Maybe you'll visit someone today, maybe you'll call, or maybe you'll just sit next to an elder and let the silence stretch until it becomes safe, enough for truth to enter. That's all we ask. Let us feel useful again, let us be seen, let us stumble over our words and still be met with patience. Let us give something back, even if it's small. Let us live fully, even as we learn to say goodbye. And when that goodbye does come, let it not be filled with regret, but with gratitude for every shared moment you chose to lean in and listen. One day you will be us, that's the truth we all carry quietly. One day the world will grow fast around you too. Your voice may tremble, your pace may slow, your memories may become more vivid than your days. And when that happens, you'll hope, just like we did, that someone, somewhere will pause long enough to hear you. So let this be your reminder. The way we treat the elderly is the way we prepare the world to receive our future selves. Build a softer world, not just for us, but for you. And if nothing else stays with you from all these pages, let it be this. We are not done living. We are not done loving. We are not done mattering. Please, listen while we're still here. Thank you for spending this time with us. If something you heard today touched your heart, share it. Send it to someone who needs to hear it, or better yet, call someone older in your life. Say it with them. Listen, because stories like these don't live forever unless we choose to carry them forward. This is the Elderly Wisdom Archive, where age is not the end of the story, but the beginning of deeper understanding. Subscribe for more voices that matter. Comment with your thoughts or your own story. We read every word. Turn on notifications so you never miss another conversation that matters. And above all, be gentle with the old souls in your life. They were once where you are, and you will one day be where they are. Until next time, take care of one another and never stop listening.